Morning, everyone. So 2 weeks ago, I put out a video talking about this list and how I was going to try it for lunch meat. And so I'm 3 rounds in the lunch meat. So that's 6 games, 4-2 combined. Some close ones. The two losses were definitely close and definitely made some errors and to maybe not help those be a little be wins. But I had some good wins too, and some ones that were like dicey from my side, where it's just kind of steamrolled because I had good dice. Now I wouldn't have lost necessarily had dice been a little more fair, but it did not help that I rolled really well and just ran over. That being said, not only have I played those 6 games since making the video, I have played. I've probably played 15, at least 15 games in the last 2 weeks. It feels like. Maybe more. Maybe more. I don't know. I had a streak where I played like a TTS game like every day for like 10 days, it feels like. And it was mainly Convocation. I think I don't know if the Brotherhood game was during that stretch. And then I had two, I think, Cabal games because I had like a Cabal Convocation duel, which I can talk about maybe a little, but I'm kind of not interested in it at the moment, but maybe I'll talk on it. So I've been mainly playing Convocation, and not necessarily this particular list because after like a couple games, I've changed it. Nothing drastic, not like totally out there, but the list I have for the two lunch meats is not the one. I'm gonna make changes, which is typical when you make lists and keep iterating on it. So we'll go through some of the things that I'm definitely thinking about doing. Maybe what's going to take their place. And just another general update since I haven't made a video in 2 weeks, mainly due to holidays and stuff and just work. Alright, so from a character selection, the big thing is I changed Magic and then I added Baron Zemo for Crimson Dynamo. Everything else was pretty much what I've been taking for a while. Baron Zemo has been great. I must say, like, really good. I've really enjoyed him. Long moving charge, does a lot of damage, rerolls. It's hard to get a 3 that probably plays my personal play style better, and I think that's also a big thing to remember. Personal play style does matter in this game. Like, the margins between a lot of models is not super big. So some people aren't interested in charging and trying to kill people. I mean, I don't know why, but they don't want to kill people. And I do, and he helps do that. And the rerolls, like if you get a nice bubble with like Ultron and his grunts is really good. Even for Strange, who can reroll skulls. It's just a nice little, it's a nice 3. And having a 3 that can both do extracts and get around the board has been more impactful for me than maybe a Lizard who's like a tankier for. Magic over Baron Mordo. I've actually used Magic more, just because of certain point levels and stuff like that. I've been, I don't know if impressed is the word. It's not like, I mean, she's a 3. She's a 3. She's a affiliated 3. If she wasn't affiliated, would I take her? No. But I do like that she has pretty nice power usage. You know, her spender is really nice to get Incinerate, Bleed, and 6 dice, counting skulls, and then you count the skulls of the enemy. Can do a lot of damage potentially. Having Mystic attacks, you know, there's some nice things about her card that I can't complain about. To be fair, so she's been serviceable 3. I think she will do better for me compared to Baron Mordo, just because there's a couple situations I can see Mordo being better. I'm using her for now. I feel like when I used Baron Mordo, I wasn't good enough to use him properly, and so he probably didn't get the fairest shake. Though looking at some of the games I've been playing, I don't know if like he's the answer over Magic per se. She has some nice plays with her like little move crap, her plays, and her attacks are a little stronger. Mordo has a big base for bumping. He does a kind of cool things with conditions if you ever get a chance to get it. He does do some power stuff that's kind of nice. Again, I think I'm going to keep going Magic for right now, but Mordo can always fill that spot. It's not guaranteed. So the spots really on the chopping block are pretty much Lizard's gone as of right now. I don't think there's a world where I play 2 unaffiliated 3s because at 17, okay, when could you do it? At 17, you could go Voodoo, Strange, Wong, and then 2 3s. Right? You could do these 3s and then 2 3s, which would be Baron. You could do Magic. I mean, I'm always, I'm almost like 99% on the side of not playing as little affiliated people as possible. So whenever I think of like a team of 5, I'm always like, I'm splashing 2 people no matter what. That being said, I just don't think Lizard Zemo Voodoo is better than Magic Zemo Rhino, for example. Like I think that's the team I've been running at 17, which is Strange, Wong, Magic, Zemo, Rhino, and of course it depends on what 17 you get, but it's been Riots a lot, like a D shape, and it just feels the mobility is just way better there compared to like maybe Voodoo and Lizard. Like I mean, Lizard's fine. He's a fine 3. I just haven't been reaching for him, and I don't know. I can't think of a situation, at least off the top of my head, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want Lizard right now. The one that maybe pops to my head is something like Paranoia, or something where you want to grab one early and just be tanky. But I have some safe line stuff. I don't know if it's enough. Like again, the thing that we're getting to the point where like I'm gonna delete the people I like. Ancient One I'd never use. She's probably out, and then Bill is probably out right now. And the reason Bill's out is he builds a good model, and in some affiliations I can give him power. He's a great model, and he's annoying, but I don't reach for him. If I want an unaffiliated 4, I tend to go Rhino because I like his mobility. They're different pieces. They're totally different pieces. Bill definitely has uses. But I don't really need a second Eyes play right now, though the model I'm thinking about does fill that role. But it's just like if I do Eyes on the Prize with Bill, he's so garbage turn 2 that it annoys me. And the only thing that really gets me juiced up about Bill and Convocation would be the combination of aggressive plus bump can get you in a lot of places if you're willing to be like up in people's shit. And like I said, he's a size 4 throw. He has a lot of good things about him if people like attack him and if you force people. Like if you played Paranoia or Senators and you just ran up to the middle and said, listen, you gonna fight me or not? He definitely has uses, but without good power gen, it's not like I have a bunch of things to give him dice. I'm not overly excited by Bill. It's still like 5 dice builders and stuff like that. Lizard, I said, was gone. And Ancient One, I just never use her. I don't. At 17, like Ancient One, Voodoo, Strange, Rhino. I can't be convinced right now that Voodoo Ancient One is better than Magic Wong Zemo. I can't fathom in my head that those 2 models are better than those 3 models. Right? Because that's really what we're talking about. It's just like if it's a D-shaped 17, I want the model. I just can't. Like, maybe it's my playstyle, maybe it's what. I just don't think that's better. It just, no. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I can play pretty much every game at this point value right now. So let's just think of the point values real quick. 15. My go-to 15 would probably be Strange, Magic, Ultron, Wong. It's probably the one I need to test the most. You're thinking of like Sword, Gammas. I mean, it can't be that bad, right? I have played it on 15 before. against like Malekith. I did lose in the test game to Curtis, but I did feel like it had some power. It's an interesting 15. It's a lot more control than it looks. You have some attackiness. You have Wong to sit on the back point. I'll talk about one thing I need to change in my list to help that 15 feel better. 16, you change out Magic for Voodoo, so you go Voodoo, Strange, Wong, Ultron. Again, a pretty good 16. I think you could do other things too. You could do like... No, you can't. I don't have another 3. I guess in theory, if I had a third 3, even unaffiliated like Lizard, at 16 I could go Strange, Magic, Zemo, Wong, 3. So I could go 5 wide at 3. So that's something to put out there, is if I want another unaffiliated 3, it would give my 16 team. But there's not many 16s either. So like, if we look at Crisis cards, you're either playing a D shape, or there I might want it if I play this. And what? Paranoia are the 2? I don't know if I need it on Paranoia. It's interesting because Ultron's pretty good on Paranoia. Yeah, that's the one I don't have a great. Is there only 2 16s? This one? Oh, Fisk. What's my Fisk team? I think it's the Ultron, Voodoo, Wong, Magic, or Strange. These 3 plus Ultron. These 4 at the top is my 16. That's a weird feeling one. Like that one, like again, I have 3 splashes, and Fisk is very like unique to where maybe I think of something else. Because it's really tough with like Strange being there. You don't want to get him stunned. You don't really want Ultron stunned, but you can accept it. You can do it. You have Wong to remove it. You're just in a spot of like, if they choose 16 Fisk, it could get tough. You might have to kind of sit back and let them take a Fisk or 2 early and start stunning themselves or damaging themselves and kind of looking for a clap back the other way. Again, this is where you say, okay, there's very few situations where it could be hard, and I need to fix that with the other 3 slots I have. 17 is what I said. Strange, Ultron, Rhino, Zemo, Wong. There's probably other combos. Not really, right? 17. This is where like a second 2 could be interesting, because you could go like Strange, Ultron, Wong, Magic 2, and then that's not. It doesn't feel good. You're 5 wide still, and so basically you're saying, are 2 2s better than Ancient One? Somewhat saying that, right? Yeah, that's kind of what you're saying, right? I don't know. It's not exactly what you're saying. But it's like the only way to run Ultron 17 was Strange. You're making the assumption that I'm always playing Strange, too. And this is, you can see I'm a little struggling at this, but 15 to 17 is just harder for me in this. And that's one reason I'm going to sub out 2 of my extracts or my secures, because I don't want the point values. I don't want to play on 17 if I don't have to. I don't have any 16s. I might have a 15. So a lot of what I'm doing in the secures is to say, if I don't win priority, which I've randomly been winning a ton and I don't want to, if I don't win priority, I'll always get 18, 19, or 20 because, well, assuming they pick my secures, their secures. And that's happy. So like, because like 18, you really start to open up around like 18 and stuff where you could go Strange, Wong, Magic, Ultron, Zemo, right? That's pretty good. That's a pretty strong team. You could go Rhino, Voodoo, Wong, Strange, Baron, Zemo. So you could have Voodoo. If you need 2 steals, you go Voodoo, Rhino. If you need more aggressive, you go Ultron, Magic. Both seem pretty good. Though the one with the Wong and Rhino and Voodoo probably better, depending on the secures or extracts. 19, you can just scale somebody into Ultron, and then 20, you have my favorite team, which is the first 5 people here. Create 20, which I really like. And obviously at 19, you can just drop Rhino to Zemo, and it's still pretty good. It all depends. So, so that's like you just heard me go through all the points, and okay, what kind of changes that? Like I can get by with everything, and that's pretty much what I've been playing. I haven't really played the other point values much, or not played the point values, but I haven't like created something to sub in at any of those points particularly. Something that maybe sticks out would be adding a second two. Adding a second two allows 17 to go 5 wide with Ultron and Strange. So you could say, depending on the map or the crisis location, you could say, I'm going to be on the more aggressive side. I'm going to go top heavy and take two twos, and Wong be the back point sitter, and then your other two. It's questionable. Is it Bullseye? Is it Toad? It's pretty much between Bullseye and Toad. Toad Wong, like Toad is really great on a lot of secures. He's good with bumps. He can do things like on Senators. He can pick up the middle one on a Senators with D. Like he's very specific to some things I want to do, but my initial body says that Bullseye is better for how I want to play. I'm a little bit more aggressive with my models, and then having a 2 that can either... Because at the end of the day, listen, if you have a 2 and you can pick up an extract and sit on a point and be safe, you're probably pretty fucking happy, right? Like, if you get spider-infected scoundrels, and you're at 17, and 2 of your 2 sit on back points with spiders and on scoundrels and can survive, you're probably pretty good with your other 13 points going across the board and trying to kill the enemy, right? Then they can come kill you. It's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. But you'd be pretty happy. And Bullseye is range 4, so he does some work from a scoundrel to scoundrel, ignoring cover too, in the auto damage. I just like the option. Like I'm very much. I was talking to Curtis about this last night after our game. I'm very much of the mind of I like defensive stuff, but I think there's like a level of like if you play with a certain precision / enough tools / just accepting like there's sometimes being super tanky doesn't matter, you're gonna die anyway. To where I'd rather lean a little bit more on the offense than just be super tanky and do nothing. So like a lot of these models have like multiple. I mean, probably the most basic model of these is probably Voodoo when you think about it. Don't like the term action compression and stuff like that, but just options. Strange is one of the most options model in the game with scalpels and his just variety of attacks. Wong, for a 2, he can do a lot of things for your team, whether it's give power, set up plays, give power so that you can charge, stuff like that. That maybe turn 2 or something, people, like turn 1's easy. Like a lot of times Strange gets power and then does his shit. But like turns 2 and 3, when he's sitting there, like you can hold him off and then heal, you can remove conditions. And if he's sitting on a point with a thing, he's happy as a clam just doing what he does. Ultron has a lot of stuff on his card. Rhino has a lot of movement, magic, Zemo charging, and Zemo with triggers off his not triggers, but movement off his spenders and stuff. Again, a lot of movement stuff and whatnot. And so with offense, and so that's why Bullseye has that kind of like profile too, right? With hit and run, with the little parting shot stuff. Yeah, I feel like if I ran a second 2, it would probably be Zemo or Bullseye at the moment. I don't know if I'm confident enough to run Bullseye, Wong. Like I think at the end of the day, I don't know when I would play Bullseye. Like he does open up options, like I just talked about. But he doesn't he really only opens options up at, I guess in 16, I could run Strange, Voodoo, Wong, Zemo, Bullseye. I mean, that's something. That's not a horrible 16. I don't know. I don't actually know if Bullseye is good here. But he's an option. Maybe there's stuff he fits in. He's probably like on some, like a better than Wong. But I think Hella's another one that kind of springs to mind. She's like Bill that you can safe grab, but she's actually like useful turn 2. I just think she's a really cool card. Medium base, medium move, range 3 on her builder is really nice. I mean, compared to Bill's range 2, like you can actually move and attack people turn 1. It's 5 dice, just like Bill. Bleed versus stun, bleed's worse. Even if she doesn't move and just sits there and double range 4 6 dice mystics, it's like super strong, right? Like that's pretty good. And then you get souls if you get damage. And in this team, and the way I play, I'm probably getting a lot of souls because of just how the team plays. Reign of Hell. I mean, I'm always down for more. I mean, she actually worked kind of well with Zemo because he gives out bleed. And so Reign of Hell becomes a little more useful. I think Army of Hell is really... Is this what it is? I don't know. I guess you auto get bleed from it. So you can go into like a Army of Hell for 1 and get auto bleed on something. Well, you can't. I mean, you already bleed on that. I guess you auto bleed is whatever. It's not a big deal. Auto bleed into Spender so they don't count wilds is fine. I mean, 7 dice, no wilds with explosion. I just think like the Death's Embrace is really good for like rotating. I kind of rolled my eyes, but so I haven't played a lot of pay to flips, and so I don't have a ton of like, oh my gosh, this is my pay to flip team. But she's really good at it, just like Bill is. But you know, she's very mobile. She's good power. She can get around and attack, so she can, you know, she's not just double walking and flipping a point. She can walk, Death's Embrace, you know, which can do damage. I mean, it's 4 dice. It's the same as like counter track and stuff. And then she can do a 5 dice builder right in their face if she wants. And then she's really obnoxious to like kill on the backside. Like you're very much going to have 3 tokens, and do they want to go through the effort of trying to kill you twice? And it's just stuff like that become interesting. I think she actually becomes an interesting pivot at 20 off of like Rhino, right? Like Rhino's very good on Scoundrels and stuff, but there's 20s out there with just scrolls where if you're already going to take Voodoo at 20, like maybe she's better than Rhino because she like even on Scoundrels, like she can get to the person's Scoundrel and remove the cover and just like get on it and start attacking people. Like I don't know if she feels better than Ancient One, but she's not affiliated to either. So yeah, she's one. Who did I have? I had like a list. Did I make a list? I didn't even pick the other characters. I guess it would be this. I had Bill still. Bill should not be in here. I would not take both. Let's just say I took Bullseye. There's only one team I want Bill for, and it involves 19 demons. The problem is I'll probably take demons out of my list because it's in my new list. Just because I don't want to play 19 demons. Well, I don't have the list I want for 19 demons. So this is where it got kind of interesting or spicy or whatever you want to call it. Like I'm already running 3 Cabals, right? I could take the Red Skull 3 here, right? Because there's a list I had with my combo. Call it Dark Magic. I guess I didn't have Logan and X-23. This was actually Bill and... This was Bill and... What's his name? Bucky. It was like Soldat. Though I didn't love that a ton because... I didn't have Magic either. Like, this was a really tough list, man. The problem I had with this list was... And I don't think it's bad. It wasn't this. It was buck he was sold at, and I didn't have exceptional, which I didn't put in here, but it would be exceptional. It was just that it leaned very light on the combo side, and it didn't feel like I just wanted to play Convocation. Because like it had some cool like 15s where you go like Skull, Zemo, Ultron, and a 3. Like that's at the end of the day, that's probably a little bit stronger than my 15 currently with like Strange, Strange, Ultron, Magic, Wong. I don't even know. I don't know. That's a pretty cool 15. I do want to try that more on like Sword. Because you gotta remember, like, that's a hell of a lot of control. So, one thing I want to talk about, too, is, so, let's just go to this one, because this is the one that's actually close to, like, being updated to, like, what I want. Let's just say it's Bullseye. And I think if I did take another, like I could take Logan here. I think Logan is kind of the same boat as... Do I ever take 2 unaffiliated 4s? There's a lot of cases I could. I could take it at 19 and 18. I'm trying to think of, like, let's say you take Madman, right? Rhino's pretty good at pay-to-flips. And I don't have room for exceptional is the problem, too. Let's put in someone basic bitch. Let's put in Crimson. Just for talking purposes. Let's put in Crimson Dynamo. That spot can be anything. And so, again, you have to play more because you don't get played as much. So it's very hard to, like, think about it. Real quickly, going down on my thing. I think Plains is on the chopping block. With Hela, it's a little bit less so, but I just don't play enough people. Like, I tend to play Wong every game. It's not like I'm taking Voodoo Magic, Strange. I guess I could take those 3. I could take those 3 and Ultron at 17, which is probably better than like a 4 and Ancient One, to be fair. It's just like I don't play a lot of splashes that have Mystics, and I don't know if Plains of Poldark is really... Like, I don't reach for it ever. I don't be like, oh my gosh, I can reroll. Strange already rerolls. I get that rerolls on rerolls. If I had... So, like, you could say, oh, it'd be really nice to have... like, Mission Objective is probably what I would take. It'd be really nice to have Shush. And, like, so that's another one. Okay, so Small is probably the other one who's kind of, like, there in that... Where the Crimson Dynamo is, because he provides a little bit more dynamic, like, interesting 15s. Like, not even... I think Ultron's still better, but... I actually do think Ultron is better than Space Maw. Even with Space Maw is worth a point more. In my bones, I feel like he's better. I probably won't take Space Maw on my list. I just feel like I always play Ultron over him. And he does help with some point values because of being 6, but I can work around it. And I don't really want to put his card in if I'm not going to use him that often. It just feels like a waste. So I do have an open slot. So these are the cards I'd run right now, with maybe Plains being out. So Brace and Sack, I still got to get better about using Sack. I'm still feel like I'm not using it well, though it's always good to have there just in case. Brace, of course. Bar, you have to. Ironbound Books is good. Eyes, you need it for, especially when you have like Strange and Hela and stuff. Robbery, of course. I really like Bane of Damila. I've been using it more. I just think it's a nice, annoying card for some teams that like bunch up and just put a bunch of Roots out early. It's really nice versus other Ultrons because Root is really annoying for Ultron himself and for his Grunts because his Grunts can't blow up. So you could like Bane and Dalamba, somebody hit the Grunts and then blow up the Grunts and they won't blow up in your face. Fallback is one I haven't used much, but I'm definitely putting it in. I just feel like this team, you know, especially, like I said, the way I play is a little bit more aggressive, and having that ability to, like, get out of a double attack or reposition with fallback plus bump, just, like, I'll put it this way. If fallback and sacrifice were both restricted, and if fallback and sacrifice were both unrestricted, like, if you didn't, there's something to be said about like people are always like, I want to take 2 unrestricted cards. I want to take 2 unrestricted cards. Blah blah blah. There's something about like that notion in your head that like restricted equals better. I think that while different and has different, you know, use cases, I think fallback and sacrifice are very, very close to being like equal, and I almost think fallback might be better in some cases. Depends. If you're by yourself on a flank, fallback is great because you know you pick up an extract, they hit you, you can fall back. Like that's something that's kind of nice. It opens up for like strange, where you could double walk, get a midpoint, and you still have 2 power up for a fallback, so you could easily get hit by an attack. Hope you survive. I mean, 1 attack turn 1 probably isn't going to kill you. You get paid 2 for a fallback, bump, and then bump all the way back to like a back point, and then you kind of get. I mean, you could just safe grab with that and the prize if you needed to, but if no one attacks you, then you don't waste the power or the movement doing it. So I think fallback is really up there for me. Just on several models are just good if you have extracts to get away. With bump, you can get really far away. Like I almost like my defensive tech to be in cards almost, because then I can take more aggressive models and you can still do like put it this way. Here's a way to think about it. At least, and I don't know if it's good. It doesn't really work with Age of Ultron, but it's kind of the idea. Defensive cards work on everybody, like sack, brace, fallback. Everybody can use them. Iron Man books works on everybody technically. Whereas, so no matter who they attack, you have the potential to save them or do something with them. Whereas, and bump as well. Whereas, if you just take one person who's really good at defense, if they never attack that person, you never get the benefit of their defense. So you can take a lot of more glass canny, attacky guys and just take your cards as defensive and say, all right, I got the damage I need out there. I'm looking to be more defensive and with my cards and use it to fuck people over. Because the cards can like mess with people a little more, like mess with their plans and stuff. The more... All right. Let me talk about Age of Ultron first, and then I will make a general sweeping comment. Age of Ultron is back in my list. I've played Glory, and it's fun, and it has some uses, though sometimes you don't actually want to give people power and do the damage. I think the kind of the thing that flipped the switch for me, and I needed to play without it in order to appreciate. It's not like he has died in games, but I've even won some of those. And it's not like Age of Ultron was like going to be the big factor. What it is there are attrition games. Think of 15. I played a 15 Researcher Scoundrels. And it was Malekith, Armanzola, Ultron 2 versus Strange, Ultron 2, Magic, Wong. And I went up pretty early on points. I was maybe like 10-5, 10-4, maybe something like that. Maybe it was a 10, maybe it was 9-4. Anyway, I went up on points, and I didn't have Age of Ultron, and he did. And so I couldn't attack his Ultron because it wasn't worth it to me. And then at one point I didn't attack Malekith. I was playing like this cagey like points game. And I almost did it. I almost got through it. But what we kind of determined afterwards was, if I had Age of Ultron, you can play that, you can play for points, and then with less fear, not no fear, but less fear that they can just table you. So if you're up like 10-4 in round 5 and you in Ultron's left, like, what are they going to do? Assuming they can't drain your power and you do your power correctly, you could just have Ultron chilling and being like, hey, listen, I'm scoring a point, I have an extract, like, you can't kill me. Like, it depends on the scenarios, not always, but like there's points where like if you get up early, there's nothing they can do. They can't kill Ultron to end the game, and if they kill him, he comes back with Age of Ultron. They can't get through him twice. And it's just like this, it's almost like this trap card in the sense of if somebody plays it wrong, and you can play more scenario and accept that Ultron might die once, and you can do a little more sacrificing things to get ahead early, especially if it's like, what's a good example? Like something with low scoring. Like, I don't know, like Demon's Researcher, right? if you're playing Demon's Researcher and you somehow get the mid turn 1, right? And so now you're probably up 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1. And then maybe you can get it one more time, and now you're up, I don't know, 7 to 2 or something, 7-3. Like at that point, like depending on how the game's going, especially if you're like Strange and Ultron, like teleporting people away and making them waste actions to get in, like you might just, like at one point you're going to be so far ahead that they can't score enough to win the game, unless they kill like all your models. And like you have Ultron standing on the Researcher with a bow, and they're like, all right, if you don't kill me, I'm going to bow somebody off and I'm going to stand on it. I'm going to shoot somebody else, still have the power to do what I want, and still have the power for age. And they might just be like, shit, I can't do anything. So I think Age of Ultron's the play for like those low point where you think somebody's going to take like Malekith and stuff, CGR maybe. And you just don't, like Gloria was fun versus like webs and stuff, but you just don't take it and you take like other cards that are good, like Bane or a fallback or something. Planes, I'm not really sold on. I do think there are some cute astral ring stuff you can do. I don't really reach for whatever this slot is much, so I might test out like Wand of Atoba, though I don't think that's actually great. It's good on Wong, I guess. That's like the only place I really like it. I know people say it's pretty good on Strange for 7 dice, range 5 energy, but he has a range 5, 6 dice. I know it doesn't do the conditions, but it just feels weird to like. That one feels weird to me. Like Wong being able to go and like have a big attack, which he normally doesn't do, that feels good. Where you're saying, okay, Wong, instead of your 4 dice strike range 2, here's a 7 dice energy range 5 with good conditions that maybe you can pick something off while doing your turn. Like maybe you're healing or something. Like heal and then do this attack. So that one's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll think of whatever the cards. It could be mission objective and just be basic bitch. But what I wanted to say about like fallback, I like to play a game where. So I'll give you an example. Kingpin and his potatoes. We talk about how they're very good in like the mid-level stuff, and then at top level, if the team can deal with it. Like, if the enemy team knows what they're doing and has some tools, it's... How do I want to phrase this? The cognitive load to beat Kingpin is not as much as the cognitive load for the enemy to beat certain other things. Because it's pretty much right there on the table. They're kind of potato-y. They have their throws. Like, it's not saying they can't do anything, but there's less you need to think about. Take, for example, like this list, for example. Like Strange, like, scalpeling himself, scalpeling the enemy, scalpeling multiples of you, just attacking you. Ultron with his bows and his grunts doing weird, like, AoE damage and his throws off his spender. Zemo with charges and movement off bump in general is a very big one. Like, it's not like I'm saying, oh my god, these models are OP and they're overpowered and stuff, but there's a point where, like, if the enemy has enough options, unless you can sit there and piece them all out, which you won't have time to do in most cases, like, you could just be caught by something, or is there something you don't see? Right? If it's Lizard double walking and throwing you off a point, and you're like, oh, that's easy to see. If it's something like somebody teleporting here and attacking and then teleporting you off and moving back, like something like more convoluted, I don't know. You just get more opportunity. I think that's the word. I think the models I've been taking, and plus a lot of the cards I like to play, it's about opportunity. You're not playing robots. You're playing people. And probably, you know, one thing I'm learning is that there's a lot of games that I lose or are closer than I want it to be. And after the game, I'm like, man, you know, I think of a play that's better. Maybe a play to win the game or a play to have a chance. And it's not necessarily just because my models have more options, but it's just like the conditional or the situational awareness that can be a little deeper. Like, oh, if I would have went with this first and done this, then he's kind of forced to go with this over here, which means this opens up this opportunity. Stuff like that, like flows like that, and you know, you're just always trying to improve. I don't know what I was going. I don't know where I was going with that. It's just having like. There's still a lot there for me to unlock, let alone my opponent. So I think just having those kind of options that are more dynamic are interesting. Real quickly, not changing my extracts. I keep scoundrels. I want to try sword just because I like sword as a thing, and my 15 is interesting at least, especially on sword because it's so close. So, you know, Wong can hold one, Strange can get between them, Ultron can just dominate that close, and you're playing against other 15. So I feel like I haven't played enough against other 15s. I mean, big boys are always annoying, but I just went on why Age of Ultron is pretty good there because you can't really kill him. I don't know if I want demons, but I'm definitely considering keeping it, especially if I keep Dynamo. Though I want to build for Demons 19, but I don't know. Ultron's still good there. Dynamo probably gets dropped. I don't know. I probably still play Demons. I think I'm pretty good on it. I need to get better at it. All right. Thanks, everyone.